Alright, so if you've been following along on my channel, you are aware that I have been repurposing the shredder. So originally, this was supposed to be strictly for busting armor, but due to the part shortage, I had to change things. The rifle was supposed to turn out something like this, like an A2 design, 20-inch barrel, lightweight, strictly for busting armor. Well, you know, compromises were made. Basically, I couldn't get any parts, and so I just bought the parts I could get, and it turned out like this. And I had a low-power scope on here. I had the Trijicon Credo, which is a 2.5 by 10, very low power. I was hoping I could still shove it in that role of like a patrol rifle almost. But this just was too big, too bulky, too heavy. It didn't work out that way. So I wound up kind of slipping it more into like a DMR roll. And the Trijicon Credo just didn't work well for that. At least not for me. I found with the first focal plane optic, for me to really read the hashes on the scope, I gotta have at least 15 power. That only goes up to a 10 power. So I wound up pulling off that scope and putting it on the Slayer project. And now I'm changing the scope to the Trijicon 10 mile. This is a 4.5 by 30. It's got a lighted reticle. You can switch between green or red. Parallax adjustment. It's got 100 MOA of total adjustment. I went with a Vortec 20 MOA mount. And I understand why people like Vortec. They sent me the wrong mount. And within like 48 hours, I had the right mount at my door without any cost out of my pocket. They gave me a return slip to send the old mount back. Great customer service. This has a cover for your windage, which is fine because if you have time to screw around with your windage knob and just not use your grid, well, then you have time to take off this cover. And you don't want the windage exposed because otherwise if it gets bumped or messed around or something like that, it's hard to find back where your windage is because there can't be a zero stop on windage because you don't know which way the wind's going to come from. It can come from left or right. It does have a zero stop on the elevation. Now when I bought this scope, it did come with a lot of cool things. It's even got a sunshade, which I decided not to use because it just didn't look right on the rifle. Stickers, glass cleaner, all that good stuff. A sock for the scope. The scope specifications. It is a 4.5 by 30. I already said that. You got a 56 millimeter objective. You got a 34 millimeter tube. 100 MOA adjustment. I already said that. Now the total rifle weight right now with this new scope on here weighs 14.4 pounds. So I'm still under 15. So that kind of sucks. Again, you know, I wanted to make basically like a less than 10 pound rifle before. But because it got heavy, it just can't fit in that roll anymore. So this is now a DMR. I will be switching ammunition. Now I'll still keep 55 grain ammo for busting up armor because it does a really good job at that. But I'm going to be switching from a 55 to a 105. Basically doubling the grain weight of the bullet. I'm doing this to get a good BC. So now I'll have a BC of 530. Which is pretty damn respectable. Basically, I will not have to worry about windage at all out to about 600 yards. If the wind's blowing from my right side, I aim to the right side of the target. If it's really far, I favor the right side of the target. After 600, then I need to be like, okay, let's make sure I got a good call on the wind, and then I'm going to adjust for it. Here's the actual charts, what it would look like. Now you got your 3 purple lines. The first purple line I believe is just spin drift. Then you got windage, 5 mile an hour and 10 mile an hour. As you'll notice, all the way out to 600, I can just favor one side of the target and I'll still hit the target unless the wind's blowing faster than 10 miles an hour. So that's pretty cool. Scope did come with some badass caps. Like them a lot. And because it goes all the way down to 4.5 zoom, and I got a lighted reticle, we're going to flip that on there real quick. This still can shoot at relatively close targets relatively quickly. But again, This is more of a DMR now, and I'm putting it more into a DMR roll because it would excel at that a lot better. Like, I even put a bipod on it. I think it'll do alright, especially out to 500. You know, you get out past 6, then things are going to get a little bit weird. I also got a single point sling for it. I went with a Magpul. Eventually I got to put a sling mount up here too, so I can switch this like this and then just sling it on my back, but this will help a little bit. Just help me carry it and get to where I'm going. Yeah, it's not really a single point job, that's more of a dual point job, but I don't have a sling mount up here. I still got to get a bubble level for it because it's very important that your reticle is level. If your reticle's tweaked a little bit, it screws up how your bullet flies. I did a whole video on that. It's been tested too. Like, your scope doesn't have to be level. The reticle inside of it needs to be level. Your gun don't even need to be level. But we're not going to talk about that because a lot of people don't want to accept the truth and they get pretty upset about that. So, this is now going to be a DMR. It is switching rolls. Before I was trying to force it into like a patrol rifle. Just kind of sucked at that. Too heavy, too long. It didn't work well. But I can't wait to get some testing done. If you'd like to help support the channel, got my Patreon right there. I also have affiliate links in the description down below for a lot of things you see in my videos. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.